Hello everyone and welcome to Monday. E3 coverage is continuing today. If you missed yesterday's vlog, it's all about E3. We watched the Microsoft/Xbox conference and also a little bit of Bethesda's, and I gave my reactions and my thoughts on that. Today we are taking a look at Sony/PlayStation. Xbox did really good. Microsoft had a lot to bring to the table. 50 games is what they wanted to show, and they did. It was just games, many of which were exclusives or world premiere looks. So I'm really excited to see what Sony has in store. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. I can't tell if these are Minions or VeggieTales or some combination of both. PlayStation 2018 Media Showcase will begin shortly. Oh, I thought we were in the thing, man. I was like, what game is this? Wow, this is a very different venue from what Microsoft had. Because Microsoft was in a big old theater. They said it was the most people they've ever had. This is in like a tent or a church or something.
For making the time tonight to come to church.
Oh, it is a church. After making a joke about the movie Kingsman, which is really just a joke about a shooting in a church, which I probably would have left out, he went on to say that they're not going to be talking so much about new games as they're going to be diving deeper into the games you already know about. So I'm already preparing myself to not learn too much about new games, but that's okay because there's already several Sony games I'm looking forward to, so we'll see what's about to happen. The name sounds familiar, and I'm almost positive it's the musician for The Last of Us, which would make sense, because I'm sure they want to push the heck out of Last of Us 2. I gotta admit, I wasn't sure at the beginning if I was sold on the idea of everyone is in a church listening to a guy play banjo, but it's actually kind of nice. It's a nice contrast from the very, not overproduced, it's not fair to say that, but I think you know what I'm saying about the Microsoft conference, which was really big and flashy and lights, and there's no right or wrong way to do one of these press conferences, and it's kind of nice whenever it doesn't seem like the companies are competing in that way, where they're actually doing very different things. So listening to a banjo, kind of a nice way to start a press conference. Also, that guy kind of looks like Alton Brown became a Sith. Just throwing that out there. I'm sure it was probably obvious, but they are starting. Wait a minute. Are they? What? Wait, what? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You're in the church. They're in the church in the real world, and then they jump to footage of Last of Us 2, and it's inside what looks to be a very similar / the same church. Now the venue makes even more sense. It was cool anyway, but like now it makes even more sense. Man, that was a heck of a transition. And they show Ellie kissing a girl, and they do a camera turn, and all of a sudden, she's like stabbing a guy in the neck. It's quite a change. I'm not going to be including any of the real gory stuff on this video, but a man just got disemboweled. So, Last of Us 2 is not playing around. Sony's approach to this conference is actually super interesting because, you know, they're doing it very differently from Xbox. Microsoft tried to show as many games as possible in the time allotted, which, again, is a fine way of doing it. Sony is really, like, they're on their first game, they're on Last of Us 2, and they're really drawing it out, just showing gameplay. And it's wild, because they're two very different approaches to the conferences. But it's neat, because you find yourself getting, you know, very attached to just a few games. Crafting system is back, which is probably obvious. But that's the first time we've actually seen it in action. Oh my god. Are we transitioning back to... Woo! Right before they made that transition, the other girl had said they should be scared of you, and then of course we see this big, long, seamless gameplay sequence where, yes, they should be very afraid. That's pretty exciting, you know, especially for me, because I played through Last of Us 1, I did a Let's Play. I loved it so much that I knew that whenever the next game came out, that there would be another project that we'd bring to the channel. So it's exciting to see something that I already know. I'm like, yes, I want to do that. I want to bring that game to Steven Plays. So now we've come out to three guys at a table, and they said that the reason for that was that they were moving people from one experience to the next, which makes it sound like the church is not going to be the only location. They chose that to more closely match the in-game location that they were showing off within Last of Us 2, and that they're going to be moving them to maybe a different location to show off a different game. If that's the case, that's real neat. That's real neat. I unfortunately don't give a crap about what any of these three people have to say. Since we're still not ready for the next experience, they're jumping from talking heads to trailers back and forth. They're just looking back at some of the things that they'd already showed off. The Tetris Effect was a trailer I actually saw on YouTube a few days ago, and it looks cool. It kind of looks like it's difficult to play Tetris, but visually it looks neat. And Days Gone was a game that they had showed off like some time ago, and it's apparently still not ready. These poor people, they're trying to stall for time so everyone in the theater can get ready. And it's like it's a timing thing, I get it, but like it's just kind of sad to watch. They're just like, and it's almost time. It's almost time. Looks like it might be almost time. Could be almost time. It's time. Looks like the theme of starting a game off with someone on stage playing a musical instrument will continue. He finishes, he bows, he walks off stage. Just like they did with The Last of Us 2, we're looking at probably an extended gameplay session, which is nice because we get a chance to actually see what the game looks like, how it plays. It was interesting because Microsoft had a game that was fairly similar. I mean, I haven't seen too much of this one yet, but Sekiro? I don't think this is that game, but it's interesting. Little do you know that this is actually just Shadow of the Colossus 2. It's not. Obviously, this part of the game is being shown to show off the beauty. Like, he ran through the fields, and the flowers are just, waving, and now we're going into a beautiful forest. But the game is beautiful. Finally getting a chance to see some combat. And it looks good. There's a really cool effect where after you've killed someone, the game almost pauses and you immediately turn and look at the next person. Which is kind of neat. There's some really beautiful shots here, not only in the camera composition, but also the colors. It's a pretty beautiful game. One of the downsides is that because there are so many moving things on screen, and it's been like that throughout most of the demo, the compression for the live stream, and you'd have the same problem if it was a video on YouTube too, the compression can't adequately show what everything is, so you kind of get this blurring effect. So if you were to play this yourself at home on your television, it's going to be far prettier than even this is, because everything's going to be crystal clear. Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch. Oh god, the VeggieTales minions are back. I'm not sure what's happening. There's a really interesting trailer that's happening now. Well, it's a gameplay trailer. It looks like you play as a girl that has some psychic powers. This is actually immediately interesting to me because there's a really great game that no one has ever played called Second Sights by the same people that made Time Splitters. I loved that game. Still love that game, and this almost seems like a modern take on it. Did we just cut briefly back to the where there's supposed to be the guys talking, the talking heads, but no one was there? That was incredible. Anyway, Control. Remedy and 505 Games 2019. Sounds good, man. Second Sight is a good game. I don't know what this is, but it looks like you're a rat or something. This is cool. I'm already super into this, and it's been on for 5 seconds. This is super cool, man. Oh no. Oh no, is it not about actually playing as a rat? Oh, okay, Resident Evil. I mean, that's neat, but can we get a game where we play as a rat and go through little tiny places? Seeing cereal boxes up close, man, and being able to climb up stuff. I'm into that. Resident Evil 2. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. January. That was neat. Honestly, I would be totally cool with more Resident Evil games where you play as with the two characters and do co-op. I know people don't really like those, but 5 is fun. It's fun. It's not a traditional Resident Evil game, but I enjoy those. So Microsoft got a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. Sony is also going to get a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, and it looks like it's going to be a different one, thank God. Otherwise, everyone would have said, we already saw this at Microsoft's. This game looks crazy. Like, I already talked about it yesterday for Microsoft's, but, like, there's so many things happening. Also, yesterday in the Microsoft conference, I said that they were on the 3rd game. I didn't intend for that to mean, like, there were only 3 Kingdom Hearts games, and a bunch of people are like, there's more than 3! I know there's more than 3. I'm fully aware there's more than 3. I played one of the Game Boy Advance games for Extra Life one year, so there's definitely more than 3. I'm aware, just so we can clear that up. Oh god, the VeggieTales are back! And one of them is dying! Oh hey, it's Death Stranding! It's been a while. Death Stranding has been super weird from day one, but now as we get to see more and more of it, it becomes... well, it's still confusing, but it's a little less weird. It's starting to take shape into a game and not weird beached whales, which is a real thing. I'm excited that we actually get to see gameplay of this, although admittedly we're not seeing anything. There's still so much speculation to pull from just this trailer. I mean, it's like you're on a foreign planet in special spacesuits with different backpacks and little robots that follow you around. Apparently it's a game about collecting more and more camera equipment. How many Pelican cases can you carry? There was another trailer a few months ago for Death Stranding where we got to see some of the concept behind this, like the invisible monster thing. I can't tell if this is a mashup of that same trailer or if this is the same premise but showing something different. We're learning a little bit more about this game. I gotta tell you, I mean, it's Hideo Kojima, so it's like super crazy, but it's wild. Just watching and learning a little bit more about it, even some of the stuff I've already seen, I'm extremely invested in this thing, which I know nothing about, just because it's so out there. And I like that. Well, as far as I know, that's the most we've ever seen of the game at one time, and I'm as intrigued as ever. Oh man, we're back to the whales! It's time for Spider-Man! This will be pretty exciting. I haven't played a Spider-Man game since, like, Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, but I really enjoyed being able to, you know, swing around the city. I'm sure that that's probably been perfected in the last 15 years. Game looks very fun. I mean, you're a superhero, right? But, like, doing all these, like, kicks and getting people up in the air and using your web to grab things from far away. Very fun combat here. This game is so fast-paced. It is awesome. I mean, like, I'm not a superhero guy. I haven't seen superhero movies. I'm not into comic books. But, like, the Spider-Man game that I played years ago, I really enjoyed, and this looks like that same idea, but on super steroids. Like, Spider-Man is all over the place, and I love fast-paced gameplay like that. Oh, it's time for a recap. Okay, now they're just showing off everything we saw. One more time. Is that the end of the showcase? Oh, now we're outside. We're coming back to the talking heads. So they just said that the showcase is over. Apparently they're going to show off more footage of some of the games, like Spider-Man, but for all intents and purposes, the showcase is over, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. It was good. It was really good, and what was so interesting, and I said it earlier in the video, Sony approached this completely differently from Microsoft. And there's no right or wrong way to do a press conference like this, and I think both were actually very successful. Microsoft was able to show off a ton of games, which means that if you're watching through Microsoft's conference, there might be more things that stick out to you. Sony's only bringing a few things to the table, but they're lingering on those things for such a long time that if one of those games does leave a mark, you know, on you, it's probably going to stick with you longer because you watched, you know, so much gameplay of it. So both are successful. I've really enjoyed both of the conferences I've seen thus far. There's so many other conferences that happen also. Devolver, Square Enix, Ubisoft, and I'm not watching all of them, obviously. But these two that I've seen have been very, very good. And there's going to be some very excited people, having seen this E3, conference for Sony. And I'm definitely one of them. I have to say, between the two conferences thus far, I've been a little more excited for the games I've seen on Sony's, but that's also because I'm going into it with the knowledge of I really want to play Last of Us 2. So when they lead with that, it's like, I'm already biased towards the conference because I'm like, I want to play that game. Also, Control looks really good. The Spider-Man game looks good. It was interesting. I'm not going to talk about like who won. I don't do that. That as a concept is really dumb to me. I'm not going to say who won E3, but I will say that both Sony and Microsoft have done extremely well in their presentations. Different ways of doing it, but still both, I think, very successful. And I'm really interested to hear what games from Sony's conference you guys were most interested in, and maybe something that was unexpected, maybe something you weren't expecting that you saw and you were like, wow, that actually looks really good. Tomorrow is Nintendo, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Nintendo is going to bring to the table, and we'll find out tomorrow. It's going to be good. I'm pumped. I'm really pumped. E3 has been good this year. It's been really good. So hopefully we'll finish strong and Nintendo will have a lot to show. But again, they have Smash Brothers, man. Like they can't not have a great presentation because they already have. They can show anything from Smash Brothers, and I'm gonna be like, awesome. It's just everything that's not Smash Brothers. That's what I'm interested in seeing. We'll find out tomorrow. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?